to Sunday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, and a very happy new year to you all. I hope that you've had a brilliant New Year's Eve, a brilliant Christmas time with your friends and family, and you must now let us know what your New Year's resolutions are, especially if they're to do with Sudoku and puzzles. I should actually think about what my New Year's resolutions should be. Solve more puzzles, be less self-critical, get 1 million subscribers on YouTube, and solve all the glitteral puzzles that get sent in. There we go. There's my New Year's resolution. What have we got for you today? Well, we're still well within the Christmas period, aren't we? So we have a Christmas puzzle for you, which is called A Midsummer's Christmas by Charlie Pugh, and summer is hyphenated, so it must be a midsummer's Christmas, a midsum. I don't quite know what that's getting at, but it's a very pretty looking puzzle. And the genesis for this one was the Secret Santa competition or event that happened on the Discord server. So for those of you that don't know, and you're into your Sudoku, you must join the CTC Discord server. It is the biggest collection of puzzlers on the planet. I kid you not. I think they're getting on for 30,000 members. It's a delightful community. And at Christmas time every year, they do Secret Santa. So basically, Charlie has made this puzzle. I think it was for Zendari. I might be wrong about that, but Zendari is a brilliant constructor. And this one's come into us. It's been hailed as a brilliant puzzle by the great and the good of the Sudoku community. And I have read the rules, and they seem fairly normal. So I'll read you the rules in just a moment or two when we have a go at this. What do I need to tell you first? Well, being the 1st of January, the big news today is that at 4 p.m. UK time, so this will already have happened. It hasn't quite happened when I'm recording this, which is at 3 o'clock UK time. Jay Dyer's Sudoku Hunt, Numeric Alchemy, is being released over on Patreon. This is an absolutely incredible hunt. I'm not going to lie to you, it's quite challenging. Certainly if you are one of those solvers who wants to get through all the puzzles that we publish on Patreon, good luck. That's going to take you a few hours. If we get any entries to this one within say, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 hours of it going live, am I going to say I'll eat my proverbial hat? There we go. Because the puzzles are very difficult. Well, no, they aren't all very difficult. Some of them are very approachable, but some of the later ones are very difficult, and there are a lot of puzzles as well for you to get your teeth into. So if you're a patron of the channel, check that out. Jay Dyer is one of the best constructors in the world, and there are 16 or 17 absolute belters in that pack. So that is a lot of fun. But the other thing, of course, we've got going on over on Patreon is the Phistomefel Sudoku Hunt, and I've got more names for correct solvers, so very well done to the following: Chesick Foulon Hill, Jean-Marc Lau, Jolien Bloomfield, Bryony, Ferdinand Stam, Joseph Costal, who I think won the December competition actually, Sean Foley, Mark Willis, Nathan Cook, Ben Batera, Anthony Corona, Eduardo David, Crispy, and John Gemmell. That's the latest slug of names, but I've got lots more names to read out because basically all our patrons appear to be so clever that they solve everything we put in front of them. It is fantastic. Do I have anything else to mention? I don't think so. Oh yeah, no, Mark suggested I might have a go at a puzzle that has appeared on Logic Masters Germany by the fabulous Magnus Josephson. So Magnus, along with his brother Jesper, two of the most phenomenally clever people on the planet, frankly. And this puzzle, which is called Castle Wall Yin Yang Number 1, has a very strange rule set. Now, sometimes I do solves on Patreon for puzzles that have really unusual rule sets because we're not sure how accessible those puzzles are going to be to the general viewer of the channel. So if I get a chance, I may record my attempt at solving this in the next day or two. So if you want a bonus video, it's got 99% rating, 2 stars out of 5 for difficulty, and hopefully you can see the rules on the screen. But anyway, let's actually have a look at the comments. They're always interesting. Yeah, wonderful puzzle. lovely, very pleasant, very fun and approachable hybrid. Somebody asking about the rules. Yeah, so I've no doubt that is going to be worth my puzzle time, so I might have a look at that later on. Anyway, let's have a look at A Midsummer's Christmas by Charlie Pugh and see what we've got to do to solve this puzzle. These are the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Cells separated by a king's move in chess cannot contain the same digit. So let's make this cell a 5. That would mean that none of those 3 cells could be a 5. Obviously this one, oh gosh, my WhatsApp has just gone nuts, but that's fine. I thought it was a phone call. Such with the rapidity of the buzzings, but it's not. So if this was a chess king, it could obviously jump to this cell and this cell. Therefore, neither of those cells can be a 5. Obviously, in addition to normal Sudoku rules, you couldn't have a 5 repeated in any of these cells anyway. But the additional cells that are affected by the king's move constraint are those 2. So that's that rule. Digits along an arrow must sum to the number in the digit in that arrow's circle. So those 3 digits, you add them up. Let's put some numbers in: 2, 3, and 4. Add up to 9. 2 plus 3 plus 4 is 9. So you put 9 in the circle. That's how arrows work. The green line is a region sum line. So all digits along the line must sum to the same number in each 3x3 box the line visits. Different visits to the same 3x3 box all count towards the same total. E.g., row 4 column 3 plus row 5 column 2 plus row 5 column 3 plus row 6 column 3. So those digits there, which you can see are all the times that the green line enters box 4. So those 4 digits are going to sum to the same as those 3 digits, are going to sum to the same as those 3 digits. No, those 4 digits, because there's another one. This green line comes back into box 6 there. Oh yeah, we can see that from the symmetry. So those 3 digits would be another way of adding up to this, whatever this total is. Those 4 cells. In fact, I'll do all of them so that we have a complete mapping of the Christmas tree. So each of these colours must add to the same number. So if this was if that was 1, 9 and 6, that would be 16 there. Then we'd have to make those add to 16, those add to 16, those add to 16, etc., etc. So that's how the region sum lines work. Stars in the grid represent a single number n. A cell containing a star must contain that number n, and any 2 cells connected by a star must sum to that same number n. Right, so that digit, whatever, let's say the star was 5, then that digit would be a 5, that digit would be a 5, and these 2 stars would have to contain digits that summed to 5. So I've actually just seen that 5 is not going to be the star total, but that's a different matter. That's a logical deduction, which we haven't got to yet. So do have a go at the puzzle. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. Now I get to play. Let's get cracking. I think Charlie Pugh has appeared on the channel before as well, but I've never done a Charlie Pugh puzzle. I think it was Mark who got to do Charlie's puzzle last time. Right, I can see one thing that's relevant because of the king's move. These arrows can't have a repeated digit on them. So ordinarily, this sort of pattern for an arrow is a little bit tricky, because what you could do ordinarily would be that, which would mean the circle could be as little as 4, because these ones don't see each other using the power of Sudoku. But because of the king's move constraint, you can't put 2 ones into those cells. And that means these digits have all got to be different, which means the minimum they can sum to is 6 if we made them 1, 2 and 3. So that's got to be at least 6, and that's got to be at least 6. Because obviously these are symmetrical in terms of the logic that's applying to them. Right, now... Yeah, let me go back to why the star can't be 5, because that's something I noticed when I was doing the example then. If the star was 5, these two cells would have to be a 2-3 pair. But this 1 in the middle of the grid is quite potent because it has the same effect on that star, look. That star would also have to be a 2-3 pair because it couldn't be a 1-4 pair. And that would mean this cell was impossible because it would see a 2-3 pair vertically. Therefore, it couldn't itself be a 2 or a 3, and that would make that star or that domino impossible to fill. So in fact, 6 is impossible as well, isn't it? Because 6 in 2 cells, if you can't use a 1, has to be a 2-4 pair, and that's going to have exactly the same problem as 5. So, right, so therefore, the star, each individual star is either 7, 8 or 9, I think. It's a bit hard to see actually, but I think it's got to be 7, 8 or 9. It can't be less than 5 because we can't make that domino add up to less than 5. We've just proved it's not 5. We've proved it's not 6. 7 is possible, but 7 would have to be, it would have to be not 1s and 6s, wouldn't it? So it would have to be 2, 5 and 3, 4. One of these would be 2, 5, one of them would be 3, 4. 8 is possible in exactly the same way. We couldn't have 1, 7 in either of these. So it would be 2, 6 and 3, 5. And then 9 is the most flexible. So if this was 9, then these dominoes could either be 2, 7, 3, 6 or 4, 5. Okay. I don't see how to use that, actually. Okay, so I think we're going to have to start by thinking about the green line then. And that surprises me a little bit. So, by surprise, I'm using surprise euphemistically for the emotion of worry. And the reason I say I'm slightly worried about that is that when we did the colouring of the green line before, I think everything is either 3 or 4 cells, which is not, it's not creating enough of a differential. So imagine one of these boxes. Well, imagine the Christmas tree jutted into this cell and then continued down here. So it took that path rather than directly from there to there. Then we would know that this cell, in fact, that would break the puzzle, because then this cell would have to have the same total as those 4 cells. So there would be a big differential we could work with between the number of cells that we were summing. So this would be a minimum sum of 10, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, and that would have a maximum sum of 9. So, I mean, you can see it wouldn't work, but it would put pressure on this digit. Unless we can use... yeah, okay, 45... 46, 47, 48, 49. Alright, there is something, and it uses a secret. Now the secret, really, I mean, if I'm making New Year's resolutions, it should be not to spill all my secrets, but I always tell my secrets to my favourite people, and if you're watching this video, of course you're one of my favourite people. Now, the secret of Sudoku is the following. Any complete column, any complete box, and any complete row of a Sudoku contains digits that sum to 45. Now that looks interesting here, I think. If we think about this box, and this box together, look at the green line as it flows through these 3 boxes. You can see that those 9 cells there we now know add to 45. The minimum I could add to that would be a 1-2 pair in those 2 cells. Let's just put it in. 1, 2, and I can... actually, I can't make that a 1. Oh, it's gone up again then. So now the minimum I can add to my 45 in row 8 is 5, which gives me 50 between 3 boxes. So 50 divided by 3 is 16.66, isn't it? Probably is. 50 divided by 3. I feel like it's that. I'm not going to dwell on it for too much longer, but it's definitely... Did I say 16.66? I certainly meant to say that. I've got a feeling I said 15.66. I didn't mean 15.66. The very reason I'm watching a lot of darts at the moment, as I'm sure many of you in the UK are, and I know that treble 17 is 51. So if these have to be... if these three boxes contain green line digits that add up to at least 50, we know that each individual box contains a green line that adds up to at least 16.66. Now, you can't make 4 Sudoku digits or any number of Sudoku digits add up to 16.66. So we know we must be adding to a higher total than that for our green lines. And therefore, every box contains a green line that adds up to at least 17. And that looks interesting in box 5, where it's quite difficult to make those cells add up to 17. Yeah, okay, so there's got to be a 9. I see what's going on. Right, there's got to be a 9 in one of those two squares, and what's more, even if these were adding up to their minimum value, which we've worked out is now 17, those two squares have to add up to 16. So they would be 9 and 7. So the only way of making the total any higher than that would be 9 and 8. But look now, that's a 6, 7, 8, 9 quadruple. That's really cute. That is really cute. Now the other thing we're going to be able to do here then is, well, no, there's quite a lot going on now. Right, 9 comes out of these circles, which instantly means, look, we've now got 3 different digits adding up to a maximum of 8. So we've now got to put 1s on each of these arrows. Because if you try and... We know these digits are all different. 2 plus 3 plus 4 is always 9 or higher. Well, 2 plus 3 plus 4 is the minimum if we don't put 1 on. That gets you to 9. We know we can't get as high as 9, so we need to put 1 in that triple. We need to put 1 in that triple. That means none of these digits now can contain the digit 9. The digit 1. What's going on with my brain? That's not my New Year's resolution, to say the wrong thing over and over again. Why can't these purple digits contain a 1? Well, the reason is to think about row 3 and row 4 together. By the rules of Sudoku, how many 1s do we think there will be in row 3? Well, the answer is 1. In the correct solution, there will be 1 1. In the correct solution, there will also be one more 1 in row 4. So these two rows together have 2 1s in them. But we've just said there's a 1 in those 3 cells, and there's a 1 in those 3 cells. So the 2 1s that exist in these 2 rows are in these 6 cells, and that's why the purple cells could not also have further 1age in them. Although that might not be very helpful at first blush. Okay. Alright, I'm going to go back to the other thought I wanted to have, which is, can we now get a handle on those 3 digits? Because if this is a 7-9 pair, so this is adding up to 17, then we know that those green lines sum up to 3 lots of 17, which is 51. We know this adds up to 45, so we know those 3 cells add up to 6. Which is not actually that difficult, is it? The alternative to that is that these are a 9-8 pair, and then you've got 18 here. Now 3 18s are 54. Now if these are adding up to 54, 54 minus 45 is 9. Right, so those add up to 9. So what we actually want to be able to do here is to eliminate 1 from these 2 cells, because 1 can't go in that cell. So if I could eliminate 1 from these cells, we would be in clover, wouldn't we? I don't think I can though, because Ah, no, I can. Oh, that's weird. Right, that's beautiful, actually. Good grief. Right. I think this is right. Okay. Okay, right. So where was my brain going here? My brain was looking at these three cells. And we've worked out that if these two cells are 7 and 9, those three cells had to add up to 6. Whereas if these are 8 and 9, these three cells added up to 9. Now, I know that 9 is an interesting number. We've already thought about it in the context of 2 plus 3 plus 4. So if you can't put 9 on you can't put a 1 on a 3-cell arrow, the 3-cell arrow must add up to 9. So 1 is a very interesting digit when you're looking at totals like 6 and 9. So the question is it possible for either of these two red digits to contain a 1? And I think the answer is no, for a really weird reason. And if we're going to have to study. In fact, it's a good opportunity. If you can't see why these red digits cannot be 1s, pause the video, because you'll be able to spot it if you just focus on these arrows for a moment or two. So let's think about these arrows. We've said that there are 2 1s in those 6 cells. So I'll make them blue. There are definitely 2 1s in these blue cells. Now, we can't put both of those 1s in row 3. That's not going to work because of the rules of Sudoku. So we know there is a 1 either here or here in the correctly filled grid. Now, if this is a 1, let's just make this a 1. That means one of those 3 cells is a 1. But that means that cell can never be a 1 because it would eliminate the ability to put 1 in those cells. So the critical thing here to realise is we don't know which way round these 1s go, but whichever way round they go, that logic applies. So you couldn't put a 1 here because of the 1 that would be in that cell, and you couldn't put a 1 here because of the pencil mark 1 that would be in these cells. And if we put the 1 here instead, of course the pencil mark would flip down there and have exactly the same effect. So what this tells us is that neither of those 2 squares can be a 1. And if neither of the 2 red squares can be a 1, the minimum of these 2 squares is now 2 and 3, and the minimum of this square is 2. And that means we can't ever get these 3 cells to add up to 6. Because 2 plus 3 plus 2 is 7. And if you can't make them add up to 6, these squares cannot be 7 and 9, so they are an 8-9 pair. That's beautiful. All right, now this is huge. This is huge because now we get a 6-7 pair in the circles, which means that one of these lines is 1, 2, 3. One of them is 1, 2, 4. So we can now say there must be a 2 on both lines. Now that means exactly the same logic applies as we've been talking about. There are now 2 2s in blue, which means one of these 2 cells is a 2, and one of these 2 cells is a 1. So these are now a 1, 2 pair, which means 2 in the middle box is now being pushed very close to a star. Oh, no, we know the star. I know the star. The star is solved. The star is solved because this 8-9 pair means you can't put 8 or 9 as the star digit. And we said it couldn't be 5 or 6, so it must be 7. So the 7 is the star. So 7 can go in there, 7 can go in there. Right, so now one of these... Right, so now I'm going to go colouring crazy, I think. That's a very, very garish green. One of these stars is 2, 5. One of them is 3, 4. Because neither can be 1, 6 because of this 1 here. So actually, let's label that up. 2, 5, 3, 4. It looks like this one's going to be the 2, 5 one. That would make that one the 3, 4 one. It's quite difficult for me to see the 7 against the background of the yellow star. I hope that's not going to disturb my legendary ability to miss Sudoku digits. 7 can't go there by King's move, so 7 goes in one of 2 cells in box 7. Oh dear. I've got... What can I do now? So the purple colour now represents cells that cannot be 1 or 2, because obviously the logic with 1 that we did before is also applying to 2s now. So, which... Oh, good grief, right. So it is the same point again. This puzzle is surprisingly... I don't want to say surprisingly clever, but it is really. It's really surprisingly clever, this. It doesn't look like it's going to do what it's doing, but it's really, really beautiful. Because, yeah, if you look along row 5, we've not put 2 in yet. So 2 is up. We can say it's either in that domino or it's in this domino. One of those 2 things must be true. Now, that sort of juxtaposes with the fact that one of these is a 2. So imagine this cell was a 2 for a moment. Well, then we know that the 2 in row 5 can't be in those squares, so it would shift over here. But the corollary of there being a 2 in this position is there is not a 2 in that domino. Therefore, the second 2 that exists in blue is not here, because that sees this cell, so it's in there. So in row 3 and row 5 combined, you would find 2s. There'd be a 2 in this domino and a 2 in that domino. So it has exactly the same effect on the red squares as we found with the 1s before. It's a slightly different reason, but it's just as powerful. So if this is a 2, because you get a 2 in this domino and a 2 in this domino, that is the 2 2s we need for columns 7 and 8. So you can't put another 2 in here. That will be a third 2 in just 2 columns of the grid. Patently breaks the rules of Sudoku. And this works exactly the same the other way round. If we flip the 2 over there, then the 2 in row 5 has to be there, and the 2 in row 3 has to be there, and you can't put a 2 there. So it's now not possible to put 2 in either of those 2 red squares, which means the minimum sum... That's it. So the minimum sum of these 2 red squares is now a 3 plus a 4, but the minimum sum of this is 2 because it can't be a 1, and we know those 3 squares add up to 9 because we know these squares add up to 18, and we've got 3 lots of 18 on the green squares in the bottom of the grid. That is beautiful. QED. QED, that's the only way of making 9. So that this square becomes a 2. This becomes a 3-4 pair. What does that do? So this square is... Oh, no, look. I see what this does. Now look at my garish green and my yellow. One of these cells is a 2-5 pair. Well, that can't be 2-5 anymore, so this must be 2-5, and the 2 must be on the left-hand side of it. So that's 2, that's 5. This is a 3-4 pair. This 2 is not necessarily correct. I don't know yet which way round these 1s and 2s go, so let's get rid of my grey highlighting before I use that incorrectly. In fact, what I might do is put this in. This is a 2, 3, 4, 5. Quadruple to complete row 5. That cannot be 2. That's not a 2 anymore by Sudoku. 3, 4, 6. Okay, these are a 3, 4, 6 triple. pregnant pause while I wait for my brain to tell me something useful. 2 in column 6 is interesting, isn't it? By Sudoku, it's in one of those 3 cells, but I don't think it can be in this one, because remember there are 2 2s in blue, so we can't put 2s in purple. So 2 moves up there. Oh, I see, where it sees its friend the 7. Lovely. Yes, 7 by Sudoku is also up here. It's not there because it would touch another 7 by King's move. So there's a 2-7 pair in box 2. Which is interesting for 1s, because now where does 1 go in this box? We know there's a 1 in blue, remember, in row 3. So 1 must be in there, which means 1 is down here. Now, what's the total we're going towards on the green lines? It is 18, isn't it? Right, so if that was a 1, that would be an 8. That's possible, probably. Okay, so we can't... Right, we know this domino adds up to 9, because those 2 add up to 9, and we need those 4 cells to add up to 18. So this is either 1, 8, 3, 6 or 4, 5. It's not 4, 5. That cell can be neither 4 nor 5. Yes, okay, so we should pencil mark column 5. Look, we've not put in 6, 8 and 9. That can't be 9 because that would make this a 0. So this is 6 or 8, this is 1 or 3. We need this domino to add up to 9. Okie dokie. I'm going to label up these squares as well, because remember, one of these is 1, 2, 3, one of these is 1, 2, 4, depending on which way around the 6 and the 7 go. 7 in box 6 is interesting. It can't touch the 7 here by King's move, so it's pushed over into a domino, which means 7 is up here, which means it's aligning here, which is great. Okay, so now we've got another sort of X-wingy thing going on. Again, the same question. This keeps coming up. How many 7s? Well, let's do it a different way this time. These 7s are aligning, and the question that should be begging in our mind is, where does the 7 go in row 3? Because those cells can't include a 7 now, these can't include a 7, and those can't include a 7. So that means this has to be a 7. The other way of seeing that is to see that they're aligning in the rows and to ask the facetious question about rows 1 and 2, i.e. how many 7s do we think there are going to be in rows 1 and 2? The answer to that is there's going to be 1 7 here, 1 7 here, so 2 7s. Those dominoes contain 2 7s. So we can't have any 7s in those cells. That would be another 7 in rows 1 and 2, and that's impossible. So again, that would get us to the same answer. Oh, look. Oh, this is massive. This is massive. That being a 7 not only gets me a 7 down there, but makes that cell a 6. It's also putting 7 on the Christmas tree in box 4. This being a 6 means that this is now a 1, 2, 3 triple in order to add up to 6. So there's definitely a 3 look in this domino. This therefore must be a 7. That gets us this 7, which is probably exciting. Oh, look, look, I've pencil marked 7 into those 2 squares because I can't see this 7. Looking at it, that I'm gonna blame my eyesight for that one rather than my lack of Sudoku skill. So now, what does that mean? How many 7s have I got in the grid? If I double click that one, which I can see, I therefore... Right, I've got 7 7s. Oh, right, so I've got 8th and 9th 7 unresolved. Right, so what we've got to do now, I suspect, is use the fact we've just learnt these 2 digits are 6 and 7. So what is that telling us? How can we use that to our advantage? So now I definitely know there's a 4 up here, don't I? I sort of feel like somehow this is going to resolve this 3-4 pair. I just can't see how it's going to do it. Oh dear. Okay, what have I not used? I've not used... Okay, I've not... yeah. I've not used the region sum line in box 2. So that is only 3 or 4, which means these squares, we know that the total for the line is 18. So if that's a 3, that has to be a 6-9 pair. Because it would need to add up to 15 without using 7, and there's only one way to do that. So if that's 3, that's a 6-9 pair. That's an 8, and that cell is a 5. Now, is there anything wrong with that? I don't know. Alright, what's the alternative then? This is a 4. Now those two squares have to add up to 14, which could be 6, 8 or 5, 9. So if that was 6, 8, that would be 5 again. But if this is 5, 9, that could then be 6 or 8. Oh, that's weird. Okay, so... Okay, I don't think I can do that. Somewhat surprisingly. What about that digit then? Because in this box, look, the minimum sum I could make these two squares would be a 2 plus a 3. So that's 5 minimum, plus 7 is 12, and we know we're heading up to 18. So this square has to be a maximum of 6. And it can't be 6. Yeah, look. Right. This digit can't be 6 because of the 6 here. It can't be 1, 2 because there's a 1, 2 pair in a row. And it can't be 3 because if that's a 3, it knocks 3 out of the 6 arrow. So that cell is 4 or 5. And that means... I don't know, actually. Maybe it doesn't mean anything at all. So okay, so if this is 4, we've got 11, and we need 7 more here, which is without using 4. So that would be a 2 and a 5. If this is 5, I need 6 here, which would have to be a 4 and a 2. So this is either 4, 2. So does that mean there's definitely a 2 in here? Is that what I'm learning? I'm just going to double check that again. If I put 2 over there, the minimum sum of this is 7, 14. It looks like I can make that work. But I don't think I can. I think I get a repeated digit, don't I? I feel like I get a repeated digit. If this is 4, that's 11, these have to add up to 7. They'd have to be without using 4, so they have to be 2, 5. If this is 5, I've got 12 here, so these have to add up to 6 without using 5, 1. So again, yeah, there's definitely a 2 in this domino, and the 2 has to go there. So that's a 2. Which means that's a 2, that's a 1, and that's a 3. Good grief, now we're away. Now this is a 1, 4 pair, so that's a 2. This is now... I don't know what this is, but this feels like progress. Come on, how does that going to work? Right, there's now a 2 in one of those two squares by Sudoku, using those two 2s. These, right, okay, and now of course, I say of course, but it's not really of course, but those add up to 9, so these have to add up to 9. And the only way that's going to work is if they're a 4, 5 pair. That means this cell cannot be 4 or 5 anymore. It can't be, because if it was, it would damage the ability of these two cells to exist. So these squares are a 3, 8, 9 triple in box 4. which might matter. And we've got a 1-4 pair here, which I definitely know there's a 3 in this domino, which could be important for the following reason. Brain, come on, think of a reason. The 3 here is seeing a 4 here. Okay, so it's Sudoku on those digits, which gives me a 3 here. Oh, we're heading up. Oh, we are close to a 3 in the corner by Sudoku. What's going on? Right. Look at box 8 for a moment. Those 2 little cells cannot be 5 because of this 5. So 5 is in one of those cells, but also so is 4, look, by Sudoku. So I don't know. Well, it's knocking 1 out of this square. It's placing 4 on the line in box 9 for sure. Is it doing the same for 5? Not quite. 3 in this box now by Sudoku has to live in this cell, which places 1 here. So, 3's got another chance to be in the corner. This corner this time. Oh, and look, we can do this by mathematics. Yeah, we knew those 2 squares had to add up to 9, didn't we? So that's got to be 6 now, which is presumably going to help with something. That square's an 8 or a 9. So I've got an 8-9 pair in row 7. I've not placed 2s, 5s and 6s. So that square's a 5 or a 6, and it's not 5. So that square is 6. Can't be 2 because of this 2. So that we've now got a 2-5 pair to place in the row. And unfortunately, we appear not to know which way round that goes. Can we do any better than that? What do we do now? It's got to be perfect. It's got, that can't be a 3 by Sudoku. Oh look, no, this 3 sees both of those cells because of the king's move, so that becomes a 3. So this becomes a 4-6 pair, which makes this square become a 5, that square become a 4. Is that useful? 5 is now in one of 3 positions in the box up here. And 3 is not in that cell anymore because of this 3. So there's definitely a 3 in one of those 2 positions. And therefore, I want to know what that digit is. If that digit is not 5, then I've got to put 5 on this line. Oh, in fact, look, I can't put 5 on the line. I don't think the maths works. If this line has 5 on it as well as 4, 5 and 4 add up to 9. So the other 2 digits on this line would have to add up to 9, and one of them is a 3, so you'd have to put a 6 in there. That doesn't work, so that's got to be 5. That's got to be 2. That's cute, isn't it? So therefore, that's a 5 by the power of magic. Let me show you why that's true. Where does the 5 now live in this box? And the answer is I have not got a Scooby-Doo, but I do know it's in one of those 4 cells. So it's in row 1 or row 2. Now look at this box. Again, I haven't got a clue where, in fact the 5 is in, it's in the 2x2 in the corner because of this 4-5 pair. But again, the 5s are locked into row 1 and row 2. So I can't have any more 5s in row 1 and row 2. So these 2 cells are not able to be 5. 5 gets pushed onto the line, and that's mighty. Because remember, this was tricky, wasn't it? Because this is such a low number. Well, if this is 3 now, those have to add up to 15. That would make this a 10. So that is not 3, that's 4, that's 3, that's 9, that's 8. And therefore, we're away again. 8, 9, 9, 8 can go into the grid. Has that helped? Probably. I don't know. But in this row now, we've not placed 6 at all, so we can put 6 in, which might matter. 6 is now in one of these 2 cells by Sudoku. Let's have a look at this line. We know this line adds up to 18. We've got a 3 and a 4 on it, so we need 11 more, and we're not allowed to have 3, 8. We're not allowed to have 5, 6, and we're not allowed to have 4, 7. Right, so that's 2, 4, 9. That's probably been available for ages, but that is definitely true. I think I've just misclicked there. 2, 4, 9 is what this is. So over here, we need 1, 5, and 8. Let's check the maths on this. 1, 5, 8 is, yeah, that's 14 plus 4 is 18. So that looks sensible. This is not 1. This is not 5 because of the 4, 5 pair, and this can be anything. So if this is 1, 5, 8, those squares are 3 and 9. And again, that looks all possible, doesn't it? Those squares over here are 1, 6 and 8, and that's not 6 in the corner. Okay, so what, well, we've almost done, no, the thing we haven't done yet, although I'm not immediately sure I know how to do it, is we've not worked out this line, have we? So are there any options here? If we know this is 3, if that's 5, then those 2 digits have to add up to 10 without being 2, 8 or 3, 7. So they'd have to either be 4, 6, which, well, I guess might be possible. Actually, that might be possible. Or they'd have to be 1, 9, which would have to be, no. Right, that cell cannot be, oh, so they can still be 4, 6. Oh. Okay, so if this is 5, this is a 4, 6 pair, which would have to be a 6 here and a 4 here, because if that's a 4, you can't put 4 in row 3 anymore. So can that be 6 and that be 4? Maybe, actually. Maybe that's possible. That's so annoying. What's the alternative? That this is 4, and then we need these to add up to 11. Which would make them have to be 5, 6, I think, because they couldn't be 2, 9, 3, 8, or 4, 7. Can these be 5 and 6? That would be the 5, that would be the 6. It's still possible. Okay, sorry, I don't know how to do that then. Alright, so how else are we going to resolve this? Right, oh, we didn't get a 3 in the corner. Look, that's a 3 by Sudoku now. Okay, 1? 1 is in one of these 3 cells. Did we conclude the 1 couldn't be there? I think we did, didn't we? This was either 4s or 4s and 6s or 5s and 6s. But let's actually pencil mark that in. That can never be 4. Because of the 1, 4 pair. That can never be 5 because there's a 5 in the row. So there is a 4, 6 pair in this row, which is potentially interesting. So these squares are from 1, 8 and 9 because they can never include the 3. Can we do any better than that? This is a 4, 5, 6 triple, so that square, right, that square is an 8 or a 9. So that gives us an 8, 9 pair in this row. I think it feels we're at the tipping point, by which I mean we're 1 deduction away now from this whole thing just collapsing. 1, 3, 8. Oh, look, 1, 8 and 9 up here as well. Yes, okay, where does the 3 go in this column? Is an interesting question. Oh yeah, look, in fact, this, yeah, okay, that filters through from this box. If I just tidy up my pencil marks, this 3 was forcing this to be a 3, which forces that to be a 3 and that to be a 9, which forces this to be a 9 and this to be an 8 and that to be a 9, and this becomes a 1, 8 pair. I don't know what that does. Well, that 9 moves a 9 out of this square. Does it do more than that? What do we have up here now? We've got 1s and 6s to finish off box 2. So we can't put 6. Right, that's a little interesting. You can't now put a 6 in this domino, or actually, or a 1. Yes. Okay, so where does 1 go in this box now? 1 is in the top domino there, which knocks it out of that square, which actually places 1 here, look. Therefore, that's 8 and that's 5, using the power of this 8. So all of a sudden, we've done some magic. This has become a 4-1 pair, which we can fill in, which makes that 1 and that 6. That gives us the 6 in this column, which must now be at the top. We need 5, 8 and 9 here, so the 5 goes there because of this 4-5 pair. This becomes an 8-9 pair. And have we now broken the back of it? The answer is possibly, but the other answer, oh no, the 5 here, look, it's poking in there, naughty 5. Look, the king's move, sorry, that's been available for ages probably. So that becomes 6, that becomes 4, that becomes 5, that becomes 6, that becomes 4, that becomes 4, that becomes 1. 1 and 8 go into the grid. So the 1 must be there, that's an 8, that's a 6, that's a 9. So that's a 4 and that's a 2. Okay, now we're done, aren't we? We just got to, I think we just got to tidy up some Sudoku. 2 and 7 can go in there. 7 comes in here. We need a 5 in this column. Oh look, deadly pattern, but it's not because of the king's move. That's an 8-9 pair. And look, that little 9 there knocks 9 out of that cell. So 8, 8, 9, 9. And hopefully, tick. Very cute indeed. Enjoyed it mightily, Charlie. That's a very clever puzzle. Surprisingly deep, actually. I really liked the logic around those blue cells and the way they interacted on the 1s and the 2s. It was very sharp indeed. Really beautiful stuff. And not that easy, I don't think. Although I might have been missing something that would allow. It's very possible with these King's Move puzzles. If you miss one implication from a pencil mark, it can slow you down and totally change the logical pattern of the grid. But I certainly, what I loved is whatever I found here. So to the extent that was necessary, it was marvellous. Let me know in the comments how you got on. Let me know your New Year's resolutions, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.